Villa Gelato Lakeside in West Jakarta, welcome to House News. Recent updates coming from Tapera controversy, Starlink internet services, as well as the latest from Hajj 2024 will be presented in today's episode. So now let's kickstart the program with our headlines. The Indonesia-Belgium Parliamentary Friendship Group met the Belgian ambassador to Indonesia to explore ways for strengthening cooperation between the two nations. Based on the election patrol from 38 Indonesian provinces, Bawaslu revealed 19 problems during the 2024 general elections. Bawaslu identified 13 issues during the voting and 6 during the voting count. Private sector and self-employed workers in Indonesia will now have to contribute 3% of the salaries to the country's public housing saving funds, or Tapera, in a sudden move by the government. The number of MSMEs in Bali has increased in the past 5 years. As of 2023, hundreds of thousands are registered, with majority operating in the informal sector. Changi Airport will be home to a brand new sustainable hotel in just 4 years, resembling a lush rainforest alongside impressive facilities. The Indonesia-Belgium Parliamentary Friendship Group held a meeting with the Belgian ambassador. The meeting discussed economic cooperation, trade, educational exchange, and Indonesian main export commodity, crude palm oil.
Chairperson of the Indonesia-Belgium Parliamentary Friendship Group, Abdul Fikri Fakih, said the meeting focused to strengthen trade cooperation and collaboration on ongoing research projects. Furthermore, he emphasized ensuring sustainable production through eco-friendly technology is a key for the future of Indonesia's crude palm oil sector.
Ada beberapa hal yang sudah disampaikan kami dan beliau apresiasi kepada Parlemen Indonesia. Banyak hal yang nanti akan ditindaklanjuti, terutama kerjasama di bidang ekonomi, kemudian perdagangan. Ada beberapa hal yang mungkin masih ada ganjalan, mungkin mudah-mudahan nanti bisa diratakan jalannya, seperti misalnya kita ini produsen CPO paling besar di dunia, tetapi masih ada catatan misalnya karena tidak ramah lingkungan misalnya. Maka ke depan bagaimana supaya regulasinya dan praktek itu di sini menyesuaikan, sehingga karena pasarnya salah satunya adalah negara-negara Eropa.
In addition, Abdul Fikri Fakih mentioned several universities from major cities in Indonesia have been cooperating in student exchange programs to conduct research and learn from Belgium's advanced technologies. Bani and Yoga, TVR Parliament, report.
The General Election Supervisory Agency recorded 19 problems during the 2024 general elections, including intimidation against voters and voting officers at more than 2,000 polling stations.
Member of Commission 2 of the House Agung Widiantoro mentions a number of regional commissioners of KPU and Bawaslu violated the election regulations. This has resulted in vote shifting, vote manipulation, and vote inflation, compromising the democratic process in Indonesia. Agung adds KPU must impose strict sanction on these individuals and revise the election regulations to establish more comprehensive rules that protect a healthy democracy. In addition, Agung urges an immediate evaluation for other issues, such as legislative candidates facing difficulties accessing Form C1 due to Sirekap limitations. It is important to take action to prevent these issues from happening again, as Indonesia will have regional head elections in November.
Aksi curi-mencuri dalam tanda petik itu pun juga nampak sekali, nyata. Bahkan money politik yang melibatkan oknum komisioner di daerah, saya rasa sudah saatnya KPU untuk membuka mata ya, secara lebar-lebar. Kalau fenomena ini tidak segera diperbaiki dengan revisi undang-undang, karena fenomena di tengah lapangan, komisioner-komisioner yang harusnya bekerja secara mandiri dan independen, ini masih banyak pihak-pihak yang mempertanyakan itu.
To improve KPU's performance, Agung urges KPU and Bawaslu to be more selective in choosing members with integrity, honesty, and independence. Andini and Kristio, TVR Parliament report.
Indonesian lawmakers has raised concerns about the public housing saving funds. Commission 6 of the House requests comprehensive reviews of the program to ensure the policy doesn't have negative impact on workers and employers.
Member of Commission 6 of the House Rieke Diah Pitaloka demands the audit conducted by Indonesian Audit Board for the period of 2020 until 2021 regarding the management of public housing saving funds or TAPERA. The TAPERA agency has not returned savings to more than 100,000 retired civil servants. Therefore, she urged the Attorney General and the Corruption Eradication Commission to investigate the financial mismanagement at the TAPERA agency.
Saya merekomendasikan agar pemerintah membenahi carut-marut tata kelola BP Tapera. Dan yang terakhir, kalau urusan ini belum selesai, yang duit ada aja belum selesai pembenahannya, bagaimana mungkin rakyat diminta upahnya dipotong? Bukan hanya PNS loh, seluruh pekerja di pemerintahan ya dan juga swasta termasuk pekerja mandiri. Akan terjadi akumulasi uang yang begitu besar. Jelasin dulu duit yang ada ini ada di mana. Duit yang ada ini ada di mana ya. Selama itu belum selesai, maka rekomendasi saya terakhir adalah mendesak dibatalkannya peraturan pemerintah nomor 25 tahun 2020 junto peraturan pemerintah nomor 21 tahun 2024 tentang perubahan atas peraturan pemerintah nomor 25 tahun 2020 tentang tabungan perumahan rakyat.
Furthermore, Rieke criticizes government's policy in implementing a 3% deduction for all workers given the current economic uncertainty. Mario, TVR Parliament reports.
Upcoming next, digital data security as Starlink starts operating in Indonesia. Stay tuned to House News. And you're still watching House News. Commission 6 of the House encourages the state-owned aviation and tourism holding company, InJourney, to play a more active role in supporting the development of micro, small, and medium enterprises within the tourism industry.
Member of Commission 6 of the House Eko Hendro Purnomo observed and found out InJourney, especially Garuda Indonesia, tends to prefer collaborating with foreign brands over local brands or MSMEs. Eko said Garuda Indonesia should enhance promoting Indonesian culture and products, for example by collaborating with local MSMEs in providing in-flight meals.
Kalau misalnya Garuda kerjasama dengan salah satu produk ya eksotonik gitu ya, yang dari luar dari Jepang gitu, kenapa sih harus kerjasama sama mereka? Kenapa nggak kerjasama sama produk-produk dari Indonesia? Secara Garuda itu membawa nama harum bangsa Indonesia, kerjasamalah sama produk-produk Indonesia. Terus yang kedua, infrastrukturnya tentunya yang harus juga disupport. Misalnya contoh, kita menjual Garuda Indonesia, ya kan transportasinya. Nah Garuda pun juga harus mensupport berkaitan dengan masalah keberadaan Indonesia. Minimal dari segi makanannya deh, coba ada rendang ada, nasi tumpeng ada, kan menarik gitu ya, kue-kue Indonesia kan banyak banget.
Furthermore, Eko hopes state-owned enterprises in tourism will increase collaboration with local MSMEs so that the state-owned enterprises is not only for profit but also for creating the sustainability of MSMEs. From Bali, Rifki Makdudi, TVR Parliament reports.
The recent launch of Starlink satellite internet service in Indonesia has sparked debate on issues of data and digital security. Commission 6 of the House has been vocal about this concern, questioning the government decisions to allow Starlink to operate.
Data security and digital data sovereignty have recently become the focus of public attention, especially after the launch of Starlink satellite internet service in Indonesia. Member of Commission 6 of the House Darmadi Durianto said, as a state-owned enterprise and the main actor of local telecommunication, Telkom is threatened with financial losses. This needs to be anticipated by improving the oversight of Starlink operation through strict regulations. In addition, the government also needs to conduct a comprehensive review of Starlink in Indonesia to prevent negative impacts on data sovereignty and financial crisis to state-owned enterprises.
Starlink ini cukup berbahaya ya, bagi kedaulatan data, bagi persaingan di dalam negeri, ya. Nah, kalau nggak dikendalikan, saya pikir memang ini akan menciptakan kerugian, terutama bagi perusahaan-perusahaan nasional dan BUMN. Ya. Makanya kan saya meminta ini dikaji mendalam karena urusannya Komisi 6 kan, bagaimana Starlink ini bisa mengancam perusahaan-perusahaan telco di Indonesia, terutama Telkom. Ya, Telkom, karena Telkom ini kan perusahaan BUMN yang sangat besar menjadi.
Digital sovereignty covers various important aspects, including national economic interests, protection of strategic data, the dignity of the nation, defense and state security, and also state sovereignty. Panji and Fitianti Parliament report.
Commission 8 of the House asked the government to tighten the oversight of Hajj visas issued during the season. This process would ensure only authorized Indonesian pilgrims undertake this holy journey.
Vice Chairperson of Commission 8 of the House Marwan Dasopang explained, to visit Saudi Arabia, travelers must show a legitimate need, as tourism is not currently permitted during the Hajj period. Even though the Saudi Arabian government has taken firm steps by deporting foreign nationals, Marwan assessed the current return rate is low, prompting speculation that many umroh pilgrims may still be in Saudi Arabia.
Saya mengusulkan pemerintah kita di sini, karena kita nggak bisa mengurusi negara Saudi, maka kitalah yang mengurusi. Apa itu caranya? Pada siklus pelaksanaan ibadah haji, minimal 3 bulan ini, orang ke Saudi itu patut dicurigai kalau ribuan orang jalan-jalan ke Saudi. Patut dicurigai untuk melaksanakan ibadah haji. Maka kita tutup saja. Pada saat-saat melaksanakan ibadah haji, visa pemegang yang bukan visa haji tidak boleh diberangkatkan. Kalau hanya visa sejarah jalan-jalan, itu patut dicurigai. Terkecuali dia bisa menunjukkan bahwa dia punya urusan.
Furthermore, Marwan demands urgent government action, particularly from the Ministry of Religious Affairs and the Immigration Office, to address the issue of illegal Hajj pilgrimage. These unauthorized trips could have the negative consequences on those who have followed the proper procedures and are waiting their turn to perform Hajj. Helmi and Ferdian, TV Parliament report.
In our next segment, we'll let you know more on local ecotourism. So stay with us right here on House News. Welcome back to House News. Singapore's first zero-energy hotel is set to open by 2028. It's been announced the hotel will be located in the public area of Singapore Changi Airport, connecting Terminal 2 via a linkway.
Taken from Business Traveler, Singapore Changi Airport has announced plans for a new hotel attached to its Terminal 2 under Hotel Indigo brand. The 255-room hotel will be connected to the terminal building by a walkway and is being described as the first zero-energy hotel in Singapore and potentially the first zero-energy airport hotel in the world. Sustainable design elements will include solar panels, hybrid cooling system, naturally ventilated corridors, and rainwater harvesting technology, as well as floating forests, layers of rainforest, and hanging plants stretching over the building's 7 floors. The 7-story Hotel Indigo Changi Airport will be built above a bus station at the southern end of the terminal and could be easily accessed via a linkway. This will be the 3rd hotel inside Changi after Yotel Air on the 4th floor of Jewel Changi Airport and Crown Plaza Changi Airport at Terminal 3. The tourism sector in Singapore has seen a rebound from pandemic levels and is expected to continue to attract visitors as the country remains a key destination for leisure and MICE. This year, Doha's Hamad International Airport stopped Changi to claim the title of World Best Airport at the annual Skytrax Awards. but Changi will still named the world's best airport for immigration services.
At this moment, Indonesia is developing ecotourism to conserve the environment and improve the welfare of the local community. If you are keen on being responsible travelers, here we bring you the recommendation.
Ecotourism is a form of tourism that aims to preserve nature while also providing economic benefits and maintaining the cultural integrity of the local community. If you are interested in the concept of this tour, then you should visit these places one day. Nihi Sumba is an award-winning luxury resort on remote Sumba Island. It is an eco-hotel that supports the local Sumbanese people, culture, and traditions while still maintaining an internationally recognized 5-star luxury standard. In running the hotel business, Nihi Sumba is always concerned to propose tourism activities that are environmentally friendly by prioritizing the nature conservation as well as cultural socio-economic empowerment of the surrounding community. Komodo National Park is one of Indonesia's national parks that become the habitat for endangered species Komodo. This park was established in 1980 to preserve Komodo dragons and was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1986. Komodo National Park covers the island of Komodo, Rinca Island and Padar Island, as well as small island in surrounding area. Other than Komodo, this park also offers interesting marine tourism to explore. The underwater life of coral reefs, mangrove, seaweed, and the fauna are so beautiful. Ijen Crater is located in the Banyuwangi area and has applied for the ecotourism concept. The local government engaged the local community to maintain and manage tourism activities around Ijen Mountain. In addition, the local government continues to develop Ijen as nature tourist park. This area has 2 main attractions, the Blue Fire, which is only spotted 2 in the world, and the beauty of the landscape around Ijen Crater climbing route.
As climate change continues to be a major issue and resource consumption becomes more pressing, people are looking for ways to an eco-friendly lifestyle and hope to change the world.
Living an eco-friendly lifestyle is essential for preserving the environment, promoting sustainability, reducing our carbon footprint, and thus protecting our planet for future generations. Following are some eco-friendly and sustainable lifestyle habits that you can adopt to make a positive impact. Many mainstream cleaning products containing detergents, preservatives, or foaming agents are made from various toxic chemicals that wash up into streams and rivers, causing water pollution that enters ecosystems and damages biodiversity. You can easily make your natural cleaners by mixing vinegar, lemon juice, and bicarbonate of soda. Passing on plastic is necessary for reducing environmental harm and promoting sustainability. Choose for reusable alternatives to single-use plastic items. Whenever possible, carry a reusable shopping bag to avoid plastic bags at stores. Choose products with minimal or no plastic packaging and favor items in glass, paper, or cardboard containers. In developed countries, people waste millions of tons of food every year. Throwing out tons of food leads to increased greenhouse gases released from landfill sites. Storing fresh produce correctly can help you reduce the amount of food you waste. Try putting your leftovers from dinner into a reusable food pot and eating them for lunch the next day.
And that's House News for today. I'm Reni Minariu and all the crew. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.